A young Lauryn loved to keep the records spinning and spinning and spinning. Her mother, like many other parents, had amassed a large collection of records from the 70s, and Lauryn kept them bad boys rotating.
And, went into the basement and just like unearthed tons and tons of these records from my mother's, childhood and her youth. And so here I am, 8, 9 years old. Everybody else is listening to New Edition and whatever current, group is on the radio, and I'm listening to like Shepard and the Limelights and Gladys Knight and the Pips.
By the time she was 8 years old, she was correcting adults at family barbecues. Man, I used to love this Denise Williams. No, that's not Denise Williams, that's Minnie Riperton. And she would constantly perform for family and friends. This would give Lauryn enough confidence to ask her parents if she could try out for the legendary Apollo at the age of 13. But while performing at the Apollo, Lauryn became nervous, froze, and she didn't come completely up to the mic.
So let's bring out our next contestant. Gives a nice Apollo welcome to Lauryn Hill. Do you know some people out there?
Yes.
How old are you, Lauryn?
I'm 13. Treat you bad and wrong, my dear. And boy, since you went away, don't you know I sit around with my head hanging down, and I wonder.
After receiving a flood of boos, young Lauryn composed herself and delivered a strong performance, completely winning over the crowd. Even though the crowd was cheering and clapping in the end, Lauryn went home and cried her eyes out, believing that she let herself and her family down. Her mother states that she told her, Lauryn, they're gonna clap for you one day and maybe not the next, but you gotta take it all. This is a part of the business that you say you wanna be in. Lauryn Nicole Hill was born on May 26, 1975. She was the second child of Valerie Hill, an English teacher, and her father, Mal Hill, a computer and management consultant. She grew up in the suburb of South Orange, New Jersey. Lauryn excelled as a student, always making straight A's. She was an athlete, a cheerleader, and very popular amongst students.
Go! Chief!
At South Orange Middle School, Lauryn, who was the class president, would also start a breakfast club for the kids who couldn't afford breakfast, stopping on her way to school every morning to pick up 2 or 3 dozen bagels and some juice. Even at a young age, she was known as a loving and compassionate person. At 13, Lauryn would be introduced to Procasrel Michelle, better known as Prize, who was the son of Haitian refugees whose family had settled in New Jersey. Prize, who was a rapper, had a group with 2 female singers called Time, but one got the axe. And the other, going by the name of Marcy Harrell, insisted that Prize meet Lauryn because she was so talented. But Prize didn't want to at first because she was only 13 years old.
The real story is, he was like the big man, in the high school. He wanted to put 2 cute girls in a group behind him, so he could look like the man, the player of the high school. So it was me and this other girl named Marcy. And, we used to sing background, and he used to rap, basically boost up his ego, And then one day, Wyclef comes to the studio to meet the girls, and he comes and starts showing off on the mic.
And I was like, yo, Prize, come here. I said, yo, who that girl in the booth singing? He was like, yo, man, you can't talk to her, man. She's too young for you. Not only that, her brother, he trusts me. Where's Clef? I know you, man. I said, nah, I'm chilling, man. So then I went in the booth, and I was like, 2 girls, I'm about to blow up this spot.
Lauryn would ultimately join the group, now going by the name Translator Crew, because they rapped in different languages. And they would record music throughout high school, sometimes to 3 in the morning on school nights. And every now and then they would get a visit from Prize's cousin, Wyclef John, who was also a son of Haitian refugees, whose family resided in Brooklyn. Wyclef, who played the guitar, was rapping in a different group called Exact Change. At the request of Prize, Clef would lay down a freestyle over one of the Translator Crew's songs, and the results were magical. Marcy and Lauryn wanted Clef to join the group, and Prize would begin recruiting them. But Marcy decided to leave the group once she graduated high school. She would go on to be a successful Tony Award-winning actress, and Clef, who had left Exact Change, was now in, with the new Translator Crew now consisting of Prize, Lauryn, and Wyclef. Lauryn, Prize, and Clef would form a close bond while constantly recording and perfecting their craft through the years, and they became a family, combining multiple sounds such as hip-hop, reggae, and Haitian rhythms.
Telling people how they used to finance the studio.
Go ahead.
Y'all didn't used to sell the same tracks to different people.
Nah, we ain't do that, yo. We ain't never do that.
I'm playing. Cut that part out. I'm just playing. I'm playing.
Nah, yo, don't play us out like that. What we used to do is we used to actually change the tracks up a little and sell them to the same people.
Even though Lauryn loved being in the group, she was also involved in theater productions in school, and she was told she was good. So with the parents' blessing, she went out on acting auditions and actually secured roles. And while performing in an off-Broadway play that was based on a hip-hop version of Shakespeare, Lauryn's undeniable talent was noticed by a theatrical agent, which led to a 15-year-old Lauryn getting a role on the soap opera As the World Turns. After a first season, the network wanted to renew her contract, but her parents decided it would be in her best interest that she focused on school after spending a year working on set for 12-hour days. And after all, Lauryn was still dedicated to the group. As the Translator Crew kept performing in local shows, their raw talent was becoming more and more evident as local fans were beginning to take notice. But between Lauryn's powerful vocals and her beautiful looks, she was becoming the main attraction as she started to gain the most attention, which was not what she wanted.
Hey yo, I and I means one, I and I means two, I and I means three with you. Get with my Fuji crew. I move like the phantom, stalking like the beast. I rise in the east, and if you with me, you'll be deceased. Cause I bring peace to my brothers in the hoodie.
But still she kept shining, immersed in the grind, sometimes doing her homework in clubs while waiting to perform, and they never disappointed. In 1991, the Translator Crew would secure a manager in David Sonnenberg, who would line them up with auditions for major record labels. The results, not so good, as the bulk of the labels wrote them off as a bit of a circus act. But one label, Rough House Records, decided to take a chance. Rough House, which was an upstart label, was known for taking chances on groups other labels wouldn't touch. And the Translator Crew was now officially signed. In the summer of 1991, the Translator Crew went into the studio, all too eager to get to work on their first album. And Lauryn was no longer just a singer, she had become a dope rapper in her own right. Lauryn would state that she always loved rap, but the manager Sonnenberg would disagree, stating that it was Clef who enticed Lauryn into the world of hip-hop. By the fall, which was Lauryn's junior year in high school, the album was finished. But due to internal issues within the label, it would be almost 2 years before their first album would be released. During this time period, the group decided to change their name to Fugees, reversing the negative stigmas attached to the term refugees, which is what the group represented: positivity, originality, and stopping the violence.
You know, a lot of people were using blunts as a gimmick. You know, Fugees doesn't condemn or condone, you know what I'm saying, marijuana or weed smoking. It's just in the sense of like, come with your lyrics. Don't feel so, you know, chained to the ism, you know what I'm saying? Just do what you gotta do. Come with the mad lyrics as opposed to, you know, I gotta get high, blah, say blah before I do this. It's not all about that. You know, rapping wasn't back that way back in the days. It shouldn't be like that now.
It was also during this time when Lauryn was offered her first film role in the 1993 film King of the Hill. She would also land a role in the film Sister Act 2 starring Whoopi Goldberg, all while attending high school. Lauryn was in the process of choosing a college after being accepted to every university she applied to. She decided to attend Columbia University because it was in New York City and closer to the group. And Lauryn also got some great news. Fugees' album was finally being released. So what more could a young woman ask for? A freshman in college, tri-captain of the cheerleading team, and oh, by the way, a brand new album on the shelf. The Fugees would release their first album to modest, yet a fair amount of positive reaction, and Lauryn would give fans new excitement while unknowingly forecasting the future sound of the Fugees on their third and final single.
Hey yo, 1, 2, 3. The crew is called Refugees.
showcasing the full range of her unique versatility. While the Fugees didn't quite get the recognition they were hoping for, they earned respect within the industry as well as from the label while selling 130,000 copies worldwide. Rough House would in turn give them much more creative control over their next album, which was one of their biggest gripes on the first. The Refugees wanted more control over the production as well as the overall sound, which they have finally received.
It's given the audience a consistent version, an up-to-date version of the Fugees sound. If you listen to the original album, it was 2 years older when it was released. It was already 2 years done. And so we had to release the remixes, and a lot of people thought that the remixes and live show was inconsistent with the album. So we gave them the score to let them know the updated version of the Fugees and, in all our Fuginess.
The results would give birth to one of the most well-crafted bodies of work that ever sprang forth from the music industry. The score. It was instant euphoria, listening to the budding L Boogie reach a climax, massaging the listener's ears with reggae, R&B, and gritty lyrics simultaneously. The biggest hit would be an L Boogie solo rendition of Roberta Flack's Killing Me Softly, which would not only make the Fugees, but Lauryn Hill one of the biggest names in the music industry and worldwide. The album exceeded diamond status, selling 22 million units worldwide, solidifying the Fugees status. But the recording of the album didn't go as smoothly as the first, as the once jubilant energy that existed in the first album had turned into contention. Lauryn had become more outspoken within the group, which would cause many creative clashes. This may have foreshadowed things to come, but at that moment, the Fugees were in the driver's seat of whatever they wanted. Now, if there's a smile on my face, it's only there to fool the public. But when it comes down to fooling you, now honey, that's quite a different subject. Like many stories go, even though things looked amazing on the outside for the Fugees, behind closed doors, they were a mess. You see, in December of '96, while the Fugees was on tour for The Score, Lauryn would find out she was pregnant, and she would find herself at a career crossroad when the people around her kept telling her not to have the baby and to think of a career instead. But after much deliberation and prayer, Lauryn decided that there was no valid reason to not have the baby. And to make matters worse, Lauryn and Clef had secretly been dating since the early days of the Fugees, and still continued after Clef decided to marry his longtime love, designer Marie Claudinette. The relationship between them was very turbulent and led to many fights, with Clef explaining in his memoir that Lauryn even swung on him on a plane. Clef states that Lauryn led him to believe that he was the father of the new baby Zion, which Clef didn't find out the baby wasn't his up until the delivery, and this would ultimately lead to the Fugees breaking up, as fans would be left in limbo for many years with no official word. I guess this explains why the breakup was never announced. See, unbeknownst to the guys in the group, Lauryn had a new relationship with Rohan Marley, son of legendary Bob Marley, who she met backstage while on tour. She had been secretly seeing him during their tour downtimes, and he was now the proud father of their child Zion. And that betrayal of trust was something that Wyclef, who was married to another woman, could not forgive. Sometime in '97, Lauryn gave an interview on the racial makeup of their fans, as many people from the hip-hop community were surprised at the amount of support that came from white kids. But somehow this turned into a white fan calling the Howard Stern show and making a fabricated statement about Lauryn, saying that she would rather have her kids starve than have white people buy her music. Lauryn, of course, staunchly denied these ill-conceived claims, but the damage had already been done. People quickly ran with the bogus rumor. Even Eminem took several swipes at Lauryn.
I'm dumb enough to walk in a store and steal, so I'm dumb enough to ask for a date with Lauryn Hill.
Hand me an eighth, beam me off and land me in space. I'm gonna sit on top of the world and spit on Brandy and Mace. I'm more than ill, scarier than a white person trapped in a room with Lauryn Hill. Human horror film.
And then this guy calls up and he goes, "Hey Howard, man, I'm a disc jockey, and I'm telling you, I saw Lauryn on MTV.
Okay.
And she was screaming about how she would hope," this was the quote he said, "that no white people would ever buy her record."
I think the quote was, she would rather starve?
Yeah, starve. She would rather have her family, her children starve than have white people buy her record.
Now,
So then I got all bummed out, and I was like, oh, man, why should it have to get racial? What's that all?
Isn't that how it all?
I mean, it does. Did you say that?
We had a lot of people calling, saying
No,
that.
I think that it was probably taken out of context. What I was saying is that I make my music for young black youth, because I'm a young black youth myself, and there's a message in my songs.
Yes.
And that's for people who look and come from the same areas that I do. That doesn't mean that my music isn't universal.
So you don't mind white people. So you never said, I don't want white people to buy my music.
I mean, I'm not stupid. You know, I'm a musician, but I like to consider myself a businesswoman.
She would even call the Howard Stern show to try and reconcile with the listening public. In the meantime, Clef and Price, who defended their embattled bandmate, would release solo albums with Lauryn making contributions. And a lot of fans were asking, when is the next Fugees album coming? 1997 would see Lauryn's star power continue to grow as she would write songs for the legendary CeCe Winans as well as Aretha Franklin. But while in a recording session in Detroit, she would go into labor. On August the 3rd, 1997, Lauryn's first baby boy Zion was born. After the birth of Zion, Lauryn would soon begin recording her forthcoming solo album, which Lauryn also produced. The results, an amazing cultivation of work titled The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which was a play off the brilliantly written Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. The album was set to a school classroom, learning a lesson about love, but Lauryn was not present.
And, and so I termed the phrase miseducation, not because it was a miseducation per se, but just because it was sort of contrary to what the world says is education. It was this education that came from life and experience, and not necessarily academic, all academic, but related to living.
By the time the album dropped in August of '98, Lauryn was 7 months pregnant with the second child, Selah Marley, which she would give birth to in November. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill would do Michael Jackson numbers, selling an astonishing 40 million records worldwide, while also winning 5 Grammys. The album's signature track was a classic called X Factor, which many perceived to be about Wyclef, as Clef also had a song in his album many perceived to be about Lauryn as well. The Miseducation would also receive a plethora of other awards while shattering records previously held by other female artists, thus solidifying Lauryn as one of the greats.
Our next guest is someone that doesn't really need any introduction, and it's just an honor and privilege to have them here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Lauryn Hill.
Light shone in darkness, image exposed. Few can see through the new emperor's clothes. Lustful, this hustle turns humans to hoes. When the blind lead the blind, just more trouble and woes. It's the mind that they chose, it's designed to stay closed. Standards of jokers, court just the logic. Cyclic and cosmic from schoolyard to college. Primitive man in his civilized knowledge. System collapse and he still won't acknowledge. Knowledge.
Let your emotions be crucified, then renounce all your thoughts. Repent, and let your mind be retaught. What will happen to Lauryn in the coming years after the success of The Miseducation will forever be a mystery to man and the truth between Lauryn and God. What is evident is that Lauryn, like many other stars before her, did not process fame well. Lauryn would find herself facing a lawsuit from 4 men who claimed that she took full credit for the work on Miseducation despite their contributions. She would ultimately settle out of court for $5 million. By this time, the emotional toll of the lawsuit, as well as many other pressures of fame, dragged Lauryn to a low point in her life as she became very vulnerable. It was also around this time when Lauryn would meet a mysterious figure named Brother Anthony, who many people accused of being a cult leader. Lauryn soon after fired her management team as well as the people around her. It is stated that Lauryn and Brother Anthony became inseparable as he became her spiritual advisor. A friend of hers told Rolling Stone it was like she was being brainwashed by this man, believing he was telling her what to do. Another said he looked at her as a cash cow. While pregnant with her 3rd child, Joshua, Lauryn would record her MTV Unplugged album in 2001, even though she had strained her vocal in rehearsal the day before and was advised against it. The performance, while much different than others, featured flashes of pure brilliance. Though you could hear that her voice was damaged, she sat peacefully, singing through tears, messing up occasionally, no band or singers to back her up. It was just Lauryn and her guitar. In this performance, Lauryn surprised her fans as well as the entire world by completely exposing her feelings, rejecting the very notion of fame, her celebrity status, and all of the expectations that came with it, stating lyrics like, "Father, free me from this bondage." She even let her fans know that their feelings would play no part in her decision, saying, "Your hurt feelings are no excuse to keep me in this box." Lauryn was in effect tearing down everything that she had worked so tirelessly to build, and that was just fine with her. The album underwhelmed in sales, doing just 470,000 copies, and not without controversy, Lauryn's career would slowly begin to fade. In 2012, Lauryn would find herself in trouble with the IRS, pleading guilty to tax evasion. She was served 3 months in prison. The Fugees would make a few appearances together through the years, most notably on Dave Chappelle's 2006 Block Party. But unfortunately, a reunion would never happen. Even though Lauryn would successfully free herself from our chains, she can never free herself from our hearts, as she is still beloved by many fans all across the world. Lauryn Nicole Hill.